Hey everybody, so how are we doing today? So, since this is a channel focused on world news, it's time for our lovely, wonderful, everybody loves it, Brexit news. Brexit news. Uh, Due to Theresa May's failure to deliver on this, the pound sank to 1.275. It's dollars. Its lowest level since mid-January. Her hands have basically been tied, knowing that to make concessions to Labour would lead to fury in her divided party. Labour has feared any compromise on issues such as workers' rights would be torn up by May's successor. Excuse me. Britain's that's an interesting word. Labyrinthine crisis over Brexit has stunned allies and foes alike. And with deadlock in London, the world's fifth largest economy faces an array of options, including an exit with a deal to smooth the transition, a no-deal exit, an election, or a second referendum, something your guys' British Parliament does not want. As far as I'm concerned, the EU is a despotic, tyrannical body. It does not represent the people of Europe. It does not represent anyone but themselves, which is not the kind of position you want a politician to be in. That is a power structure. That is a power hierarchy, and it is ripe for abuse. Now, your current date for Brexit is October 31st, but she'll probably fail to deliver that one as well. She'll be ending in June, apparently. See, your Brexit impasse is likely to be broken soon, after she puts her deal to a vote in the week of June 3rd, when U.S. President Donald Trump is due to make a state visit to Britain. You guys have fun with that. May has said she will agree a timetable for the election of her successor. Before then, the government is considering holding a series of indicative votes to see what path, if any, lawmakers might be able to agree. Now, here's something interesting. Your most likely candidate to replace Theresa May is a gentleman by the name of Boris Johnson. He is a clear favorite. So I didn't want to say anything, but the guy's... Yeah, his appearance has no effect on his political abilities, I'm sure. Ideologically speaking, he sort of looks to be something of a nationalist, describing himself as a one-nation Tory. According to a political scientist, Tony Travers, he has described Mr. Johnson as a fairly classic, that is, small state, mildly Eurosceptic conservative, who, like his contemporaries Cameron and Osborne, also embraced modern social liberalism. So, in short, he's sort of like a left-leaning, almost libertarian in a sense, minus not wanting, not wanting to reject taxes. He still accepts taxation, but he's a libertarian-leaning person in the sense of leaning in the direction away from an authoritarian state, which would be best for Britain as a country, since your guys' history with tyrannical bodies of government, and not to mention the endless despotism of the EU, which I think you should totally get your asses out of there before it's too late. But Boris Johnson is a prominent leader of the Brexit campaign and former foreign minister. He's the top choice among members of Britain's ruling Conservative Party to replace Theresa May. He is the first choice among 39% of party members. That's a fair-sized number. 13% according to the survey. May has said she will agree to a timetable for the election of her successor, after she puts her Brexit deal to a parliamentary vote in the week of June the 3rd. Yeah, I think you guys would do well to vote for this guy. It's like, if I were British, I would definitely go for it. And if you're wondering why an American is commenting on this, like I said, this is world news. I do global news from the perspective of a what I see as a nationalist. I support nationalism. I am the unglobalist. Needless to say, Britain is divided down the middle over Brexit. It was in 2016 and it is in 2019, and that is one of the reasons why this issue is so difficult to resolve. Yeah, you guys are going to have to find a solution to this soon. It's basically tearing your country apart. Personally, I think you should leave the EU, hoping to create almost like a domino effect to sort of bring about an end to this that horrible despotic regime that is the EU, which has resulted in grievous injuries to people in France, and has resulted in a Germany where migrants basically practically run the streets in some parts of it. These sort of globalist policies are just bad news, period. Statistically, morally, ethically, and in every way I can imagine. Every way you can imagine. Ask yourself, what has globalism done for you? Probably nothing that you would see as positive, am I right? I just hope that it never gets too popular here in the States, so I don't have to live through what people over there in Europe have already lived through. It's something of a hell. But anyway, I mean, get your shit together, England. The world is waiting. Vote for Boris Johnson.